Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. This morning I went for a walk around our pumpkin patch, and you can see one of the pumpkin is coming along. In this video, I would like to show you a stir-fry template for chicken that gives the chicken a blackened appearance. The result is that the surface of the chicken is slightly charred, give it a very nice charcoal flavor. And the beauty of this template is that it is very fast. It takes only about 5 minutes to cook this dish. And the reason I call this a template rather than a recipe because there are plenty of room for you to modify. First of all, you're going to need some chicken, and I'm going to use chicken breast to cook this dish. I'm going to cut the chicken into about bite size. This will greatly facilitate the speed in cooking the chicken. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to prep the chicken for stir frying. However, if you are already familiar with this, you can skip this part of the video. The first step is to trim the fat from the chicken pieces. I then slice the chicken into thin strips. This definitely will make cutting the chicken into individual pieces faster and easier. I then slice the chicken into bite-sized pieces. Here I use a ceramic knife to cut the chicken. A ceramic knife is better than most steel knife because it stays sharp for much longer. You can take a look at this video to learn more about ceramic knife. Here I use a technique called claw technique. You tuck your finger beneath your hand. This way will protect your finger from being cut. And you can take a look at this video about how to master this very simple cutting technique. In order to have chicken anytime I want, I have developed an advanced prepping method for chicken. I will cut up all the chickens after I bring them back from the supermarket, and I store them in 8-ounce portions in Ziploc sandwich bag. And then I will freeze them in this single layer configurations. So the end result is that anytime when I want to have some chicken, I can put them in a bowl of warm water or just in the sink. It will thaw out in about 10 minutes. You can take a look at this video and see how it works. It will save you a lot of time. And it will also make your cooking more fun and spontaneous. To cook this dish, I'm first going to cook the chicken with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. This will create a light breading on the surface of the chicken, give it a crispy texture. But by adding sugar as well as some seasoning, you create the charring. The first step in cooking the chicken, I'm going to use a method called shallow frying. And you can take a look at this video to learn more about this shallow frying technique. To cook this dish, I'm going to use my honeycomb wok. This is referred to as a hybrid wok because what it has is that it has this honeycomb design with stainless steel on the top, and then underneath it is a layer of non-stick coating. And because of this design, it is possible to use a stainless steel wok spatula without damaging the non-stick coating underneath. To learn more about this wok, you can take a look at this video that I have done to review the wok. To give us another layer of protection, I also going to season the wok with my spot seasoning method. This method is very simple. All you have to do is to heat up the oil until it starts to smoke gently, and then you turn down the heat so you will not overheat the oil. And then for about 15 seconds, you are ready to cook. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of canola oil to cook this dish. I'm going to use 8 ounces of chicken. I use the chicken mainly as a condiment rather than as the main ingredients. To cook this part of the dish, the best is to use a pair of long-handled tongs, because for shallow frying, all I need to do is to spread out the chicken in a single layer on the surface of the wok. The concept is very simple. Basically, you fry the chicken on one side first before you turn it over to fry the other side. In addition to coat the chicken with cornstarch, I also coat the chicken with some hot chili pepper flakes, as well as some sugar. I add just enough hot chili pepper flakes to enhance the flavor of the chicken, but not to make it too spicy. The sugar is added to promote caramelization of the chicken and subsequently cause it to char. After I first lay down the chicken, I try not to move them too much because once the chicken is cooked, then the surface is sealed, then you can move it easily without having them stick to the bottom of the wok. I use my pair of tongs to test the chicken to make sure they don't stick to the bottom of the wok, and also checked how well have they been cooked. Because the chicken is cut in thin slices, so they cook very rapidly. Usually it takes about 90 seconds to fry one side to provide the charring as well as a crispy texture. And one way to tell is that if the pink color of the chicken almost disappear, you know the other side has been fried quite well. But again, you can use the pair of tongs to let up the chicken and to check. And by now, there's only very little pink color left on the surface of the chicken, means that the chicken is almost cooked. And now I start to turn the chicken over. As you can see, the chicken is very nicely brown, and some part of the chicken actually has been slightly charred. You can easily adjust how much charring do you want on the chicken by leaving them either longer or shorter, depending on your personal preference. Personally, this is just about right for me. You might ask the question, can I substitute other type of flour to replace the cornstarch? You actually can replace the cornstarch with things like arrowroot starch or with potato starch. They all work very well, except I would not use wheat flour, which would not give the same crispy texture as cornstarch, arrowroot starch, as well as potato starch. Frying the other side of the chicken takes less time, and usually it only requires about 30 to 40 seconds, and you are done. The reason that it starts to smoke because there are no oil on the surface of the wok, and this causes the ingredients to burn. Next, I switch to a wok spatula to make sure everything are well mixed. By this time, I shut off the stove and I'm ready to season the chicken. To season the dish, I'm going to use about 1.5 tablespoons of oyster sauce with about 1 tablespoon of hoisin sauce. And then I also going to use about half tablespoon of a Korean barbecue sauce that I have on hand. This will give the chicken a nice teriyaki flavor. And okay, with a few quick mix, the dish is done. Before I cook this dish, I have cooked a vegetable medley that contains Brussels sprouts, eggplant, gailan, and tomatoes. And I'm going to use the chicken as a condiment for the vegetable dish rather than as the main ingredients. This will help me to enjoy the vegetable dish even more because I have the chicken to make the dish more interesting. So basically, I cook 2 different dishes and combine them into one. It took me about 8 minutes to cook the vegetable dish, and for this chicken dish, it took me about 6 minutes. So altogether, I cooked both of these dishes in about 14 minutes. To be able to cook this dish properly, the wok has to be able to hold heat well. This hybrid wok actually did a wonderful job. So does if you are using a carbon steel, stainless steel, cast iron or light cast iron wok. In fact, any wok with a natural surface will do a good job. Again, as I have mentioned earlier, this represents a template rather than recipe, so you can mess around with it and find out exactly how much charring that you want that will create the kind of blackened chicken that you like. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routines using my fast cooking system. If you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.